So Tna Impact once again took place in Cleveland, Ohio. And the show starts off with the Bound for Glory participants talking about the gauntlet match and the chance to earn 20 points. So then we see Aces and Eights come to the ring. Bully Ray gets on the mic and tells the crowd that Aces and Eights is in control. And he tells the other members that they're the best crew that he could ever have. Bully Ray tells them that he's proud of them and that he would be nothing without them. He says that they hang and bang together, and then adds that he and Brooke Tessmacher do a different kind of banging. Bully Ray says that he wants them to forget about what happened last week. He gives a hug to Garrett Bischoff, then to Wes Briscoe, and then to Mike Knox. As he's doing that, the crowd tells Tito Ortiz that he sucks. And Bully Ray gives Ortiz pound and tells him that not only is the crowd jealous of him, but they wish that they could be him. Bully Ray stops at Mr. Anderson and tells him that he has been the best vice president. He says that he loves Anderson more than he loved Devon, and that even though Anderson disapproved of Devon being replaced by Ortiz, that was club business. Bully Ray hugs Anderson, but Anderson reluctantly accepts the hug. Bully Ray says that Aces and Eights is ready to take care of business. He says that Knox will destroy Chris Sabin, Bischoff and Briscoe will take care of James Storm and Gunner, and Mr. Anderson will gain 20 points by winning the gauntlet match. Bully Ray says that he accepts Hogan's challenge and that he will beat up Sting just as he did at Slammiversary. He tells the other members to leave and says to Knox that he and Tessmacher are going to be at ringside to watch him beat Sabin. Decent segment. The interaction between Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson was obviously the most important part to pay attention to, and Anderson's unwillingness to embrace Bully Ray clearly laid the path for what eventually would happen later. So then we had Chris Sabin versus Mike Knox. Decent match. The match ends with Sabin sitting on the mat as Knox twists his neck. Sabin gets to his feet and delivers a few punches to the midsection. He tries to come off the ropes, but Knox grabs him by the hair and pulls him back. Knox hits Sabin from behind and executes a back suplex. Then he goes to the corner and comes off the middle rope with a leg drop. Knox goes for the pin, but Sabin kicks out. Knox places Sabin's neck on the middle rope and presses down on him. He comes off the ropes and tries to land his leg on Sabin's neck, but Sabin moves out of the way, leaving Knox straddled on the middle rope. Sabin grabs Knox's leg and snaps it on the rope. Then Sabin goes to the top rope and delivers a missile drop kick. Bully Ray grabs the hammer from the commentator's table and gives a signal to Tessmacher to distract the referee. He walks around the ring and passes the hammer to Knox. As Knox attempts to strike Sabin with the hammer, Sabin drop kicks him on the leg, causing Knox to drop the hammer. They both dive for the hammer. Sabin grabs it and hits Knox in the head. The referee calls for the bell. The winner of the match by disqualification, Mike Knox. Now, I thought it was great to see Knox compete in a singles match because we really don't get to see him featured on his own. But it doesn't make him look tough when he needs a hammer to beat a man smaller than him, whether Bully Ray gave him the hammer or not. So then we see Chris Sabin and Velvet Sky in the hallway, and Sabin is ranting about the hammer becoming a factor in his matches with or involving Bully Ray, and that he only uses it because Bully Ray brings it into the matches. He says that he should still be the world champion and the face of TNA. And Sabin says that something has to change. Velvet tries to calm him down, saying that he doesn't need to use the hammer to win. He's better than that. Well, Sabin seems to forget that he used the hammer to win the world title from Bully Ray, and now wants to put out the excuse that Bully Ray Jedi mind tricks him into using it. But I guess that this is TNA's only way to steer him toward a heel turn. They couldn't get him over as a face champion, so this seems to be their only way to get him over. Now, how will Velvet react? Will she turn heel along with him? Or will she be a reluctant supporter? Either way, does this mean that her angle with Mickie James is done? Speaking of, we see Mickie James come to the ring. She says that she is happy to be in Cleveland because of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a place in which she will be in the future. Mickie says that since she wasn't invited to a recent award show, she decided to create her own award, and she places it on the turnbuckle. She says that she is a huge star in the music business and that she is the greatest women's champion in the history of existence. Then ODB comes to the ring, and she tells Mickie that she should be more concentrated about her winning the title. Mickie says that she is a star and ODB isn't. And she breezes by ODB and then turns and hits her from behind. She punches ODB down on the mat and then grabs the title. Mickie pulls ODB to her knees and puts the belt in her face, asking her if she wants the belt. Mickie brings ODB to her feet, but ODB gives her a clothesline. ODB picks up the belt and holds it up. And then Mickie snatches the belt from her, telling her that she doesn't deserve it and that she is not in her league. ODB kicks Mickey's leg and rips off her shirt. And then Mickie falls to the mat and rolls over to grab her belt before leaving. And then ODB tells her that she will never be rock and roll and that she soon won't be the women's champion. Now, at the beginning of the segment, Mickie came off a little over the top as she ventured into topics that had nothing to do with the title situation. And after ODB came out and put the subject on the women's championship, Mickie's mic work became more focused and concentrated on why, as the champion, she is better than everyone else. Once that happened, the mix of sarcasm and arrogance was more effective. ODB saved the segment, which was solid. Note the TNA creative. Just because a certain celebrity has been in the news a lot lately doesn't mean that having wrestlers drop that name in their promos will gain TNA mainstream attention. Use that for future reference. So then we see Jay Bradley and Hernandez backstage with Jeremy Borash. And since both men are mathematically eliminated from winning the Bound for Glory series, Borash asks Bradley how he will benefit from winning the gauntlet match. Bradley says that even though they can't benefit from winning, they can still offer value. He says that a certain group of men have made him an offer to do some work for them. And Bradley tells Hernandez that they can work together and that he should think about it. So then we have the gauntlet match featuring the 12 participants of the Bound for Glory series, and the winner receives 20 points. Jay Bradley and Hernandez are the first two in the ring. Bradley gets on the mic and wants an answer from Hernandez concerning his offer to be partners. And Bradley says that a certain group has offered him a lot of money to eliminate a certain wrestler, and that if Hernandez helps him, he'll get paid. Bradley puts the mic down and extends his hand, but Hernandez kicks him and the match starts. Decent match. Rather than describe the action for this match, I want to point out a couple of items. The Jay Bradley Hernandez angle was good, and it provided a nice setup for a possible program. Also, a solid storyline could be created now with Bradley being a bounty hunter for the group that wants that certain wrestler taken out. If TNA allows Bradley to do both, they can finally start building him, and it will make up for the lack of attention that he was given during the Bound for Glory series. When AJ Styles came out, the dark music played again. Of course, Styles couldn't do his complete dark entrance, and he had to immediately come to the ring. But how close did he come to eliminating himself? He clotheslines dumbass Joseph Park, and the momentum takes him over the top rope. His feet are inches from hitting the floor before he pulls himself up. If Styles' feet had hit the floor, how would they have explained that? Pretend like it didn't happen? Yes, it's a moot point, but it shows what could happen when something can go wrong when it is pushed past its sensible point. Oh yes, the winner of the match in one of the most shocking, surprising, and unexpected results in TNA history, AJ Styles. Styles picks up the 20 points, giving him a total of 49 points. He finishes as the points leader and gets to choose his semifinal opponent for No Surrender. Now, someone came at me with an email saying that this is the reason why TNA needed to have this gauntlet match. Styles didn't need to be the points leader. As long as he's in the top 4, that's all that matters, and that could have been settled last week. Styles didn't need to pick his opponent. It would have been more dramatic if Styles had his opponent determined for him. Instead of creating the action, he responds to the result of the action, and that creates the drama. So then we see Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson backstage. Bully Ray says that he is so pissed at Anderson that he can't even look at him. He says that his picture is next to the word disappointment in the dictionary. Bully Ray says that the only thing that Anderson had to do was win the gauntlet match, and points out that Mike Knox won his match. He adds that Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe will win their match. And Bully Ray wants to know what Anderson has done for the club recently. And then Anderson suddenly jumps up and comes at Bully Ray, saying that he has busted his ass for the club and has put everything out there for the club. Bully Ray tells Anderson that he is above him, and that Anderson could suffer a fate worse than Devon did, which would involve bottle cracking and the destruction of his leather. And then Bully Ray tells Anderson to get in line and to not disappoint him again. So then we see AJ Styles backstage. He talks about the fact that he went from being outside of the top 4 to becoming the points leader in the Bound for Glory series, and that he gets to choose his semifinal opponent. Styles says that he is a winner and he is going to win the Bound for Glory series and face Bully Ray. Basically standard from him. So then we see Sting and Quentin Jackson backstage. Jackson is trying to understand why Sting can't ever wrestle for the world title again. Sting says that Bully Ray took that opportunity from him, but he doesn't care because it's not about the title anymore. Sting says that he owes Bully Ray a thank you, because had he not lost, he never would have been able to form the Main Event Mafia. He says that he can be confident about beating Bully Ray because he has a family backing him. Now, Jackson didn't talk much during this segment, and that's a plus. This segment was obviously designed to cover up Hogan's blunder from last week, announcing that Sting's match with Bully Ray is a title match. First, from a kayfabe viewpoint, a wrestler saying that he doesn't care about winning the title is not believable. Now, the comment about Sting not being able to form the Mafia if he had won the title. I seem to recall that when Sting joined the Main Event Mafia when it was first formed back in October of 2008, he was the world champion at the time. So beating Bully Ray at Slammiversary would not have prevented anything. You had to cover Hogan's ass. I get it. So then we had a non-title match. World Tag Team Champions James Storm and Gunner versus Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe. Okay match. The match ends with Storm making the tag to Gunner as Briscoe tags off to Bischoff. Gunner comes into the ring and hits Bischoff with a clothesline, then an elbow. Bischoff throws a punch, but Gunner ducks, kicks him in the midsection, and headbutts him, which causes Bischoff to back into the corner. Gunner charges him and flattens him with a knee to the midsection. Bischoff stumbles forward and Gunner executes a backbreaker. Gunner goes for the pin, but Briscoe flies across the ring to break up the pin attempt. Storm comes into the ring and slugs Briscoe. He whips Briscoe into the corner, then charges the corner and is propelled over the top rope to the ring apron. Storm catches Briscoe with a kick to the back of the head. He goes back into the ring and waits for Gunner, who takes Bischoff down to the mat and catapults him to Storm, who delivers a DDT. Gunner goes for the pin, but Bischoff kicks out. Storm and Gunner set up a double team move as Gunner picks up Bischoff and hoists him on his shoulder. Storm comes off the ropes, but Briscoe grabs his legs and pulls him out of the ring. And then Briscoe sends Storm into the ring post. Bischoff escapes Gunner's grasp, wraps his arms around Gunner's torso, and pushes him toward the ropes. Briscoe nails Gunner with a shot to the head, and Bischoff rolls Gunner up with some tights for the pin, but Gunner kicks out. With Storm down on the outside, Bischoff holds Gunner as Briscoe comes back into the ring with one of the tag team title belts. The referee sees Briscoe and grabs the other end of the belt, and as Briscoe and the referee have a tug of war, Gunner hits Bischoff. He then clotheslines Briscoe out of the ring. Bischoff takes out a chain and wraps it around his fist. He hammers Gunner from behind and Gunner goes down. Bischoff pins him for the 3. The winners of the match, Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe. Now Bischoff and Briscoe are a average tag team with no mic skills and no charisma. Bischoff will never win the battle of getting over with the fans because he is the son of, and Briscoe is Briscoe. The non-title victory won't lead anywhere. If they get a shot for the belts at No Surrender, they will lose. We can only speculate that TNA will start rebuilding the tag team division as Bad Influence moves into position to challenge James Storm and Gunner. So then we see Jeremy Borash in the ring with Austin Aries, Robert Roode, and Magnus. He introduces them as being the wrestlers that are among the top 4. Borash then introduces AJ Styles as the points leader, and Styles comes out to his phenomenal music. Borash asks Styles to choose his semifinal opponent. Styles contemplates his decision, and then he and Rude have a standoff. Styles turns his cap backwards and gets in Aries' face. Styles says that Aries was the worst loss that he had during the Bound for Glory series because he didn't want to lose to him. Aries rubs it in by saying that, yes, he did beat Styles. Styles tells him that is the reason why Aries will be his semifinal opponent at No Surrender. And then Aries says that predictions and promises are not things that he makes, but he states that the fans will be the real winners when they meet. Borash is trying to complete the announcement that Rude and Magnus will meet in the other semifinal match when Rude snatches the mic from him. Rude says that the reason he formed the Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization with Christopher Daniels and Kazarian was to get into the top 4, and he has accomplished that. Rude says that Magnus is weak, and he says that even though he lost to Magnus earlier in the series, he's not the man he is now. Rude says that he will start his quest by beating Magnus and beating either Styles or Aries in the final, and then he will end it by winning the world title at Bound for Glory. Magnus takes the mic and says that the difference between his getting points on Rude and Rude getting points on him is that he didn't need Daniels and Kazarian helping him and having a drink thrown in his face. He says that Rude may have the gentleman, but he has the mafia. And then Magnus says that he will defeat Rude and go on to beat either Styles and Aries, and then go on to Bound for Glory to win his first world title. And then once again, we see Rude and Magnus face to face, and then Aries and Styles face to face. Good segment, nice build that generates more excitement for the semifinal and final matches at No Surrender. Magnus came off very well. But as far as Styles, it is time for TNA to put an end to the darkness and present him as the phenomenal one. Continuing to show that they made a mistake by ending Dark Styles too early is not a good look. So then we have the main event. Non-title match, Bully Ray versus Sting. Bully Ray comes to the ring with Brooke Tessmacher, Tito Ortiz, and Mr. Anderson. They stop on the ramp and Bully Ray berates Mr. Anderson, yelling at him and pointing at him. Sting comes out and the ring introductions are made for a non-title match. Bully Ray takes the mic and tells Sting that this is a non-title match because of the stipulation from their title match at Slammiversary, stating that if Sting lost, he would not receive another title shot. More ass covering for Hogan, basically. Then Hogan comes out. Hogan says that Ortiz is banned from ringside and security escorts Ortiz away. Ortiz is forced to leave, but Anderson is allowed to stay. The next time TNA Creative has a meeting and they are going over their main points to accomplish, this is one they should add. No telegraphing. They have been doing too much of that lately. Even without spoilers, allowing Anderson to remain at ringside only makes the result more predictable. Bully Ray complains about Hogan's actions, and Hogan responds by informing Bully Ray that the match will be no disqualification. And the point of making this a no DQ is what? Sting jumps on Bully Ray with a Stinger Splash and the match begins. Decent match. The match ends with Bully Ray using what appears to be a box cutter that he got from Taz to cut away the ring covering, just as he did at Slammiversary. He throws the tool back to Taz and goes back into the ring. Bully Ray picks up the chair in the ring and slams Sting on the back. He throws the chair down and pulls back the ring covering. Bully Ray peels the padding away and exposes the wood. He jumps up and down on it. Bully Ray goes back to Sting, but Sting grabs his legs, takes him down, and applies the Scorpion Deathlock. The other members of Aces and Eights come to the ring and jump on Sting. Anderson, however, remains outside and watches. Then the other members of the Main Event Mafia come to the ring and get into it with Aces and Eights. They start brawling, and the action goes from the ring to the back. Meanwhile, Sting goes for the Stinger Splash in the corner, but Bully Ray moves out of the way. Bully Ray tries to execute a pile driver, but Sting backdrops him. Bully Ray charges towards Sting in the corner, but Sting moves out of the way and tries to execute the Scorpion Death Drop. Bully Ray holds on to the top rope, causing Sting to hit his head on the mat. Sting gets to his feet, and Bully Ray tries to give him a boot to the face, but Sting takes him down again and applies the Scorpion Deathlock. Bully Ray is crying for Anderson to help him. Anderson takes out the hammer from inside his vest. Anderson deliberately fails to pass Bully Ray the hammer, then throws the hammer in the ring away from him. Bully Ray taps out. The winner of the match, Sting. Anderson grabs the world title belt and the mic and goes into the ring. As Tess Mocker tends to her man, Anderson tells Bully Ray that he couldn't do it by himself. Anderson is on top of Bully Ray as he tells him that he will face him for the world title at No Surrender. And then he morphs into his hybrid character from the past. Then Anderson stands up and he holds up the belt. Bully Ray tries to recover as Tess Mocker holds him tight. Anderson throws the belt at Bully Ray and leaves. Show ends. I'm sensing a setup. It just appears too convenient. Bully Ray repeatedly talking about relaxing and not having to defend the title until Bound for Glory. Hogan paving the way for making a setup possible by being the catalyst that allowed the events to play out that have led to this Bully Ray Mr. Anderson match. If that is not the case, then I am fine with Anderson turning on Bully Ray, just not turning face. Being with Aces and Eights, Mr. Anderson was able to carve out a solid heel definition for himself that has benefited him well. Now TNA appears to want to return him to that hybrid character in which he combines the mannerisms of two other wrestlers and comes off stale. If that worked so well for him before, he would still be doing it, wouldn't he? Some people have to go backwards in order to go forward. If Anderson has to go backwards in order to go forward, he may keep going backwards. And he may fall. If he falls, he may never get up. I'm Tazmart 2002, and that was my TNA Impact Analysis for September 5th, 2013. If you're listening to me on YouTube, please leave your comments below. Click the like or dislike button, and if you subscribe, I would really appreciate it. If you're listening to me on the Wrestling News Talk Facebook page, please leave your comments below, and you can click the like button if you like what I've been saying. If you have any questions about TNA or wrestling in general that you would like for me to answer, You can get at me on Twitter, Tazmark2002. That's TAZMARK 2002. And if your comments exceed the 140, get at me with an email, Tazmark2002@gmail.com. Now, starting this week, I will be joining another YWC members show, and I will be doing analysis for Tna Impact on his show. His name is Chuck P. I started watching his TNA reviews a couple of months ago, and he is solid. Good takes, and he says what he feels. He's been listening to my analysis for some time, and he invited me to join his show. We'll be starting off with the review for No Surrender. Now, I'll still be doing my own reviews, so you'll still be able to listen to those, but make sure that you check out Chuck P's channel and watch our reviews. It was a decent show. Decent show. Hogan did an interview recently in which he discussed the creative direction of TNA. And he was asked, how much of a say does Spike TV have in the creative direction? Hogan said, quote, equal, unquote. Now, this is not that much of a surprise because that is the reason why Quentin Jackson and Tito Ortiz are on Impact. But how far would Spike TV's equal say go? In addition to seeing more MMA fighters involved in storylines on Impact, could we see more people from Spike TV's original programming start appearing on Impact and being involved in storylines? Last year, Josh Lewis from Spike TV's Repo Games appeared on Impact and was involved in a light angle with LAX, Sarita, and Rosita in order to promote his show. Yes, TNA has had pseudo-reality people on Impact before, but those individuals didn't figure deeply into angles. This thought sounds far-fetched, but is it? Could Spike TV eventually have more than an equal say? TNA could be assuming the position permanently. Let's hope that the company will see the day that it stands upright again. I'm Tazmark 2002. Gone.